Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Most welcome to Vidya Dance series, and especially about on the day of uh, World Youth Skills Day today. Today, the entire world is celebrating World Youth Skills Day, and today on the Youth Skills Day, we wish to understand the importance of aptitude test, how that can support in building your career, and how um, that can support in guiding you to the right path and select you choose the best career for yourself. So to introduce Vineet Raj Kapoor ji, I'll take the privilege and today, allow me to introduce Mr. Vineet Raj Kapoor as a founder, director of Skill and Chandigarh Design School. He's also Indian official industrial design technology expert for WorldSkills and will be representing India along with his candidate in September in Leon. Besides, he leads the Indian delegation to ACE Fair Korea every year, and it's been many years he's been taking the Indian delegation to this ACE Fair event. He has been voted among the top 100 AVGC movers of India at GAFX 24 and Education Excellence in Higher Education Award at Educators Conclave 2024. He has conducted workshops, courses in BITS Pilani, Thapar University, PEC, Chitkara University, DY Patil University, and many more. He leads, as I said, he leads Indian delegation to ACE, that is Asian Content Exhibition Fair, Gwangju, South Korea, and he'll be going there again on 22nd to 25th September. He was also a part of a roundtable at Dubai Expo in Dubai on skilling ecosystem curated by FICCI and Media and Entertainment Skills Council. If I'll continue to talk about him, I've got a huge list. Sir, allow me to cut short your introduction at this point.
Sure, please.
Thank you, because if I'll go on with your introduction, it's huge. So I'm so happy to have you here on this occasion of World Youth Skills Day. And as you are aware, we are introducing MeCat Week on this occasion, and it's really crucial for us to understand the importance of MeCat and, of course, the aptitude test and how MeCat can also guide the students in their career fitment to best. And with you, I'll have Vanchika to take over the conversation. Vanchika is my colleague here in Delhi. And Vanchika, I'll hand over the session to you and Vineet ji, and I'll be listening to your conversation at the back end. Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think I'm quite excited to discuss about the uh, aptitude test, importance of aptitude test for right now, and especially on the occasion of World Skill Youth Day. And the best part about the World Skill Youth Day is that how we are working on transforming education to ensure that youth have what they need to build skills for shaping a more peaceful, sustainable, and future for all. So, Vineet sir, over to you. We are quite excited to learn a lot from you now.
Thanks a lot, Panksheka, and thanks, Pooja, for the great introduction. And I hope you're able to add a lot of value to the young kids out there who are right now thinking about their career choices. And sometimes you do get confused. In fact, when I posted about this thing happening to the design circles, a lot of people said, no, but it has to be driven by their desire and all. But then, of course, there are a lot of kids who do not get the opportunities to even look at their own desires. They do not have the exposure in small villages, small towns. They never had the exposure to know about a lot of careers. So I guess it does have a big role to play in helping a child find their future. Yeah. So I'll just share my presentation and we'll discuss. You can ask me questions. We can go by that, whichever way.
Absolutely, sir. I think the best part will be that you can just start with it, let people know what we exactly going to talk about, and then further let's move forward with the questions then.
Sure.
Thank
So
you.
importance of aptitude testing for the right career, right? I'll just skim through their certain introductions. So I'll just skim through them. And we are here. I'll just very briefly, I'll just take a look at something called Bloom's taxonomy, because it has been the core of all education and learning for the last maybe about 70, 80 years, since 1950s when this taxonomy came in. And like say the failure of learning, because somehow this taxonomy made sure that theory was given a lot of importance and the practice was relegated to the background. So this was the taxonomy. We'll just take a look. So it is the core, the base of this is about remembering. Now, remembering is a thing of the past. So asking questions after exams is something which is about the past, right? Now, when all knowledge is available at the tip of your uh, your mouse, so you can bypass that and go directly onto the next level. So that is where this taxonomy fails, because most of the universities still lay a lot of emphasis on remembering and ask a lot of questions in the exams, right? So obviously you need to understand, apply, then analyze, evaluate, and create things. This is where skills come in. To create things, you need skills. You can't create things with theory. So I'll just move on. I think the context is very different. So we'll move on. Aptitude tests. So I just dug in. Why aptitude tests? Who was the person who created the first aptitude test? So there's a gentleman, Dr. John Holland. He's an academic and psychologist. He created an aptitude test, right? And he created certain codes which have been proved to be reliable and accurate in matching people with suitable jobs. So this is what the world has been following now. So I thought I should introduce this. Why? Because it is not that unscientifically you just pop up some questions and you get the results. So moving further, what kind of aptitude tests? There are a lot of aptitude tests. So typically, as John Holland took out, there were 9 kind of ways you analyze people, and a combination of that will show what career you take. So the aptitude tests are, of course, numerical ability, verbal aptitude, abstract reasoning, logical reasoning, mechanical aptitude, or you can dexterity skills, and spatial reasoning, data entry tests, and situational judgment tests, as well as personality tests. So combination of this gives you an idea of where the person should go, even if one skill is lacking. For example, somebody who has got all of these, but not the spatial sense, right? So, and the person, there are 2 friends, one has got spatial sense and other doesn't have. The rest of the skills are same. So both of them want to be good with cricket. So the one without those spatial skills can become a cricket commentator or a cricket umpire, but not a player. So that is how even one skill can change the career you take, whereas the other kid can go on to become a player, right? So why aptitude test? It's not only about career choices. We are talking about career choices today, but the aptitude tests are useful for a lot of things. So it can help a student uncover their strengths, because sometimes you are not knowing about your weaknesses. Sometimes you don't even know about a certain strength you have, right? So it can help you find those abilities and interests so that you can align your interests with your career choices. And
Right,
even
sir. So,
within
sir, yeah,
GG,
so sorry. So, sir, it has been said that aptitude can show calling. So, where can a student or any person who is giving the aptitude test can find himself, and what exactly importance it is to after giving the MECAT aptitude test?
right? So after giving the MECAT aptitude test, first is the student is able to know their different skills and their bifurcation. For example, one student is very good with creatives, and another student is very good with logical. Somebody else is very good with analytical things, right? So depending on what they are good with. So somebody who's very good with creative may, for example, take a career in animation, whereas somebody who is able to interpret data, is good with analytics, may go in for UX designing. So there are different kind of careers available for kids. Somebody who has got good mathematical things will maybe look at dynamics in VFX as a career, or maybe rigging as a career. So every kid can find a career based on what their skill sets are, right? So students with low creativity also have certain careers. Those with high creativity have careers, and combination of different skills. So that is where they will be able to locate their career choice, as well as even the institutes which take in students can guide them better, because without that test anybody is able to get into any course. So later on they discover that they may not be suitable for this course, right? So this also helps the institutes guide the students and make the right kind of batches. I hope that
I think
answers your
that's
question.
why it's truly said.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's why it's truly said that genius is only a greater aptitude for patience. So
right.
you truly explained it well.
Thank you. And going on, even for recruiters, the employers, aptitude tests play a big role. Now, imagine you have not taken an aptitude test, you have taken a career. And later on, the employer takes that aptitude test that you should have taken earlier. Now, the employer discovers that you have a certain weakness. So isn't it better that you discover it first, right? So that is how you use aptitude tests.
Absolutely. So it's all about general ability, I suppose, then.
Right. Sure. After that, it is all your will, determination, hard work. But getting the right path makes a lot of difference. So that is where MeCat comes in and fills the gap that has been existing for very long, especially for people like, of course, there are exams in creative, like for NID and all, but it is only for people who have very high aspirations. For a general person, there is nothing in the horizon with which they can move ahead. So there are a lot of people who
So,
might
sir,
go,
could you give some reasons? Yes, sir. So, sir, could you just give some reasons that why a candidate or a person who is appearing for it is tested for the creative aptitude? Why is it important? What
sure,
what kind of problems it solves?
yes, because there will be some career choices which require creativity, right? There could be other career choices which require maybe language skills. For example, search engine optimization or web marketing will require a lot of language skills. Some careers will require a combination of both, like graphic designing. You require language as well as creative skills. Whereas if you have only creative skills and no language skills, I'll suggest a person to go more for something like character animation. And whereas a person who has got 3D spatial skills are actually 3D skills, will be good in sculpting and can choose a career as a 3D modeler. So there are many career choices which depend on the creativity and the kind of skill set you have, right? And then again, even in sculpting, there are two kind of people. Some people who are creative and others who are not. People who are not creative will be able to still create great character models based on the drawings made by others. Whereas people who are creative will be able to design characters and then model them. So it's all the combination of skills that becomes important. So the problem is if you do not
I
test,
think you have explained, yeah.
yeah, and if you had not tested, so you will find that you are struggling. The teacher is asking you to first draw the character and then model it, and you are struggling because you were not supposed to be that person. So otherwise, if you are already having the knowledge, you know that you will struggle and you know that only you have to study it, but you are not going to take it as a career. That assures you. Because I have seen a lot of students, especially when it comes to rigging, they struggle heavily with it. So if they were knowing that it doesn't belong in their repertoire, so they can at least just do it and move ahead without wasting too much mind space and not feeling incapacitated or inadequate while doing it. So that is where it also helps again during the learning time also.
Right,
Right?
so I think you have just explained it so nicely that why a aptitude test should be compulsory for the best choice of career courses, and especially when it comes to creative aptitude tests. Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome. So I take tests. Again, sometimes people will ask that I can do things without a test. Fine, you can do it. So it is like a doctor-patient relationship. A doctor, a very good doctor, may be able to judge what disease you have. Still, they conduct tests to confirm. And otherwise, a more professional doctor will first conduct the tests before declaring the disease to you. Right? So that is how these tests play an important role. Fine, let's move ahead. So, I've already discussed these parts, but we'll just take a look at these. So, aptitude tests unveil the students' innate talents and also the areas that require development. So, if somebody is weak in an area, they can try and make up. Fine, if somebody is bad with, say, spatial understanding, they may try out things with, say, clay modeling, and if they actually get the hang of it, they can develop those spatial skills. Fine. So, in either way, these tests will steer the students towards the careers that align with their abilities. So it ensures that they will select paths where they're poised to excel and find satisfaction. Right? You're able to hear? Hello? 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 Are you able to hear? Is it my internet or yours? Yes. Are you able to hear now?
Yes, sir. Now, so sorry about that connectivity.
Okay. So anyway, let us continue. So choosing careers that match their aptitude also increases the likelihood of the work being fulfilling and enjoyable. So you are more likely to be satisfied in your job if you have chosen your career well. And this, everybody in India now knows. A lot of students who went into engineering and now doing different things, and sometimes they have to follow the path they had chosen and they are dissatisfied. Sometimes they have to switch to other paths and they are dissatisfied because they wasted a lot of time before finding the right place. So that is again where this will help a lot. So it will also help career counselors in helping the student. If the student is not able to interpret the result, the career counselor can also help this. And from an institution's point of view, it assists the students in identifying and their strengths and weakness, and then they can choose the subjects and courses that align with their abilities. So the schools can enhance academic performance and decrease the dropout rates by aligning students as per this. The teachers can utilize these test results to develop personalized learning paths. This is all what NEP has been now touting. So NECAT can help a lot in this by helping the students as well as institutions align everything. Right? And
Right, sir, because
yeah,
yeah, you know, the aptitude and attitudes are more important than facts, and that's what NECAT
easy
makes it do.
for sure. And in any case, attitude is always required. So somebody was asking, no, it is more than aptitude, it should be attitude. I say, fine, that attitude needs to know what their aptitude is. right?
Exactly.
Right. So, and then lastly, but not the least, the employers, like we discussed earlier, the employers also need to know the right fit. So they will, in any case, try to find out your aptitude and fit you in the right place. And if they don't, then sooner or later you will give up in that job, or they will kick you out if that aptitude is not matching. So it is so good if you can identify your aptitude very early. If somebody like uh, is not like, see, these tests are finally tests, right? They cannot find everything about you. So of course a student is free to add on more um, tests, or go to a career counselor to help them further identify their, if the findings are different than what they believe, they should go to a career counselor, individual one-to-one basis, to find where they fit in, because there are existing occupational lists which these career counselors will use to match everything, right? So this is the core of what I wanted to say. So this also helps employer identify areas where they want to give additional training to the new recruits, and even identifying them for leadership roles if they have those kind of strengths. So they can build good teams with this knowledge. Ji.
That's so true, sir. I think I want to know more about that. How can aptitude tests help identify gaps in skills and knowledge? Because this is the very this is something that every person who appears for a MeCAT asks for. So, what is your take on it?
Okay, can you repeat the initial part? I think I didn't hear it
So,
correctly.
the question is, how can aptitude tests help in identifying gaps in skills and knowledge?
Okay. See, aptitude test will identify their strengths and weaknesses in certain areas, right? Now, that could be a like, it could be a gap in that sense which can be filled. Sometimes it is a gap which can't be filled. For example, if we talk about creativity, so if somebody has never worked on their creativity, of course, in a very short time, you can't immediately make them creative. But knowing this will help them choose a career which doesn't require a lot of creativity. That is how these aptitude tests come handy. So MeCAT can help there, right? So sometimes, for example, if somebody wants to become an animation supervisor, so of course they need some mathematical skills. If you want to become a character animator, you do not need skills. So when you have to handle teams, you have to do a lot of calculations every day morning. And also you need creative skills to understand how that work is done. So if you have got both the skills, so for example, if I as a animation lead have got a team of say 20 people, so I know everybody's strengths, right? And then I have to do the calculations on how many seconds of work each person will do, of what kind of a quality, right? So it also helps me understand the person's strengths and weaknesses. And also the person should be would already have like undertaken an aptitude test right at the start of the career. They also know their strengths, whether should they try and become the animation lead, or they're well off as character animator. This is a very important point, because a lot of Walt Disney's animators did not grow up to be animation leaders or directors. They were happy remaining in that character animator role. So it is important for people to realize not every role is made for every person. This is where aptitude tests come handy.
So well said, sir. That's why it is always been mentioned that you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. And I think that's what MeCAT is doing.
Right, for sure. Right. I think most of the points, there are of course points we have already discussed. It is how, like you had already asked, so I've already covered most of it. Why is it important for the students? Right.
Absolutely, sir. So, according to you, with the modern educational and career development trends, how do you think the aptitude test gonna align with it?
Mhm. Align with what?
With modern educational and career development trends, and
Okay.
especially Mika.
Okay. So when we are talking about MCAT, we are kind of talking about skilling, right? And in fact, skilling is an area which aligns more with aptitude tests than any other area, because a lot of other areas are theoretical, but skilling is not. So when you're talking of theoretical areas, it is more to do with your memory part. So if you are able to remember things, rest of the things do not matter much. But in skilling, you use combination of aptitude to finally like find your ask or your ikigai, right? Yes.
Right, sir.
Okay, okay. Right. So
So,
this is, yeah, this is where it would surely help.
sir, according to you, what is the best way to prepare for aptitude creative test?
Okay, interestingly, like I am a believer of that instead of preparing too much, try to know your skills. In India, we do prepare a lot. So we land up in the wrong kind of courses sometimes because of preparation. And then you know what happens with that person, because they tend to go through a lot of depressive cycles. If you have prepared for a test, ideally aptitudes are to be found out, not to be prepared for. Selection test is different from aptitude test. Selection test is a test where you want to crack the test because you already made up your mind where you want to go. But aptitude test is really different. It makes you find all your strengths and weaknesses. So that is again why MCAT is so important. It is not a selection test of that kind. It is helping you identify your right areas so that you find a great career. So MCAT will play a great role, I think.
So, sir, there's a lot of competition in today's time. So,
I know.
how MeCat can contribute to career satisfaction and fulfillment, and also some career-related stress and anxiety? How do you think that it's gonna play a role in this
Right. See,
sector?
okay, suppose the test says that I am, say, average creative, right? So it helps me, since I know how good or bad I am, so it helps me find satisfaction much more easily than without testing if I am believing I am very creative and find rejection in creative pursuits often. That will lead to dissatisfaction, right? So understanding your aptitude will always lead to satisfaction because it will impact your choices. So you'll always make the right choices once you know your skill, right? So it helps you make the right choices. And yes, if somebody believes that on this particular day they were not very good and they think their aptitude is a little different, they can retake the test. There's no issue, right? Or like I said, they can again consult an additional person, a career counselor, to identify how they can utilize their strengths. And of course, they
Right,
should,
sir. So, sir,
yeah,
what? Yeah.
they should
So,
work
sir,
on their
there's a lot of
weaknesses. Yeah.
yeah, right. So there are a lot of misconceptions about aptitude tests. So what are the some common misconceptions you think that people have about creative aptitude tests? What do you think? How are you gonna talk about it in terms of telling people that this misconception is something which won't support the lifelong learning and skill development?
Mhm. Okay. First, I'll want to ask you because I'm sure there would have been students who have put up questions to you because that will tell us about the misconceptions much more, right? But yes, a lot of people feel that one more test is something that they immediately feel. Why should I give one more test? Right? They believe that tests
Right, sir.
to be imposed on them. So again, for the students who are looking at MeCAT, they should look at it more as a test to understand themselves rather than a test to crack. Because in this competitive world, like you said, if you want to survive, you have to understand yourself. Even if you have made mistakes and not worked on your creativity or whatever, but you have to understand where you are now before proceeding further. So it would sum up 18 years of your journey. Usually, this is what the age of the student would be. So that 18 years of journey will be summed up for you. And of course, you can always improve from there on. But at least you can know where you stand now. Right? But any questions that the students have,
That's
because that will clarify this much more.
sure, sir. I think that's why Sid said that nothing can stop the person with the right mental attitude from achieving his or her goal. And that's where MeCAT aptitude test plays the role.
Right. Question. So yes, now I can take the questions because I've shared all aspects of this, and like I'd told in the start that it's about till 2:15 because I have a international meeting lined up after this.
Right.
Right.
Really
So
sorry, sir.
we
I
can go
think
for
I will
questions.
request I would request all the viewers to start asking the questions. And yes, let me.
Meanwhile, you can ask questions, if any.
Absolutely, sir. You have solved all my doubts, to be very honest. But I think when it comes to a person who practices a lot of modern education and when it comes to vocational, um, what do you think that when it comes to creative aptitude test, what basically it helps in creating personalized career development plans? What kind of personalized career developments we can aim through that?
Mhm. So, like, suppose there are maybe 5 or 6 aspects on which they are getting tested, like I mentioned, like, for example, language skills, creative skills, analytical skills, right? Spatial understanding, and of course, their own interests and strengths. So you can, like, uh, from a plethora of careers, already you shortlisted down to maybe 3, 4 careers, right? So, for example, in somebody with fashion design, and if they have a good mathematical ability, they can get into garment manufacturing because that will require them to calculate a lot. But where as a fashion designer, your calculation will be lesser, right? So this is how within that same same area, or you can still specialize based on your aptitudes, right? So other things like, for example, some people are very good with their creative eye, creative sense, but not good with their spatial and hand dexterity. They can become good photographers or cinematographers. But somebody who's good with hand uses the same skill to create characters and surroundings, right? Whereas the photographer will use their skill to capture those same things, the surroundings and characters. So that is how within that same, it doesn't even look like the same skill set, but there's the same skill set with one thing missing. So it will help them identify which area they should develop themselves. And of course, if they have got a good mentor, they can help them interpret these findings, because a mentor is one of the biggest assets in skilling areas. Maybe in the normal thing, it may not be so much, but in all of the areas covered by MeCAT, which is media and entertainment skills, a mentor is a must. The more experienced the mentor is, they will be able to help you uncover areas and even understand where your skill sets will lead you to. So I think that is the prime thing to know.
Right, sir. I think, sir, there is one more question that just popped up
Hmm.
in my mind. I was thinking that what role of aptitude tests play in supporting career change for mid-career professionals? What are your views in that?
Okay, wonderful. This is a great question because when a person, like, only I think every day I speak to a lot of kids because they call up for guidance. So there was this kid, he said, I'm switching from hotel management to animation. I said, why? He said, I took up hotel management due to certain pressures and I don't think I fit in. Now, when you do not fit in, the problem is the next time you are very skeptical whether you will be able to fit in. So, ideally, before this career change, you should understand your aptitude, your strengths and weaknesses for sure. Especially for career changes, it is even more important because you do not want to get a second setback. Because most of the times, the first setback was due to mismatch. So, for that person, it becomes even more important to when they're changing midway. Obviously, they must have understood some weaknesses because of which they're wanting that change. So now they should know the strengths which will lead them to their new career. So I call it career reboot. Like you have to reboot your careers. So you need a new software, right? So you have to like you take up MiCAT. You if you are like at a higher age and you are embarrassed about taking an exam, right? It happens. This is human psychology. So go ahead, consult a career consultant, but understand your strengths and weaknesses before taking this step. It is a small favor that you will be doing yourself towards your future. So MiCAT is happy to
Well
help
said, sir.
those people for sure.
Yes, sir. I think sometimes we need to be brave enough to outgrow the life we have lived. So,
Right.
well said, sir. So, sir, there is one question from a viewer.
Hmm.
So, the question is that how can I identify my creative side when most of the education system mainly emphasizes on the academic studies only?
Wonderful question. Because I was hoping that somebody will ask it. Because yes, well said that the education system is totally, unfortunately, but totally aligned towards understanding your logical side. Everything that is asked, usually, most of the things that are asked are aimed at understanding how logical you are, how much you can remember, how much you can reason. So the entire 12th mark sheet is a mark sheet of your logic. Unfortunately, there's hardly anything for the creative unless you have taken some creative electives or something, right? So understanding your creative skills is where firstly MiCAT would help. Secondly, if you have been working on your creative skills, for example, if your drawing is good, you will know that for sure because drawing is a visual medium. It is impossible not to know that you have got good drawing skills, right? You may have explored other creative skills. Maybe some students I've come across have been doing some videography or photography alongside their schooling. But one thing is for sure, if you are weak on the left side, which is the logical side, you are quite sure to be strong on the creative side. Only you may not have discovered it. A lot of students, because of the studies of 12th, do not even attempt a lot of creative activities or they leave their hobbies. So for those students, these tests can come handy. But for sure, if you are weak on the logical side, there's a very good possibility you're good with the right brain, what you call it, the creative side. So that is a thumb rule. I've seen hardly any cases where this fails. So when somebody says, I have 40 marks in 12, I say, great. It means you are creative and you're stuck for 12 years in something else. So come on, let us start your career. So I'm so happy. So that's why I don't give any weightage to the class 12th marks when it comes to judging for creative fields. And I'll suggest to all institutions to totally ignore those marks and only rely on things like MiCAT, where they can at least know about the creative skills. of the kid. I hope that answers the
Right,
question.
sir. Yes, sir. I think I appreciate your expertise in addressing all the questions thoroughly, which has undoubtedly cleared up, any lingering doubts. And I think thank you for dedicating your time to this insightful session where we learned about the significance of aptitude tests and choosing the right career path. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. It's a pleasure always. So I think we close now. If anybody wants to ask any questions personally and was afraid to ask, free to contact anytime. No issues.
Absolutely,
I
sir.
guide.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, so with the celebration of World Skill Youth Day, the team just wanted to click a picture and with the
Sure.
victory of talking about something that. Thank you, sir. Let's click a picture with a big smile, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.